Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Today it's going to be a little bit different. I don't know if I move that microphone around, if that makes a noise for you, so I'm sorry. I don't have anything written down. I'm just going to kind of speak from, I don't know, sometimes I just need to hear things, or sometimes I feel like I hear things at certain times, or I read something at a certain time, and it's like, this was meant for me, or this is why I needed to read this or listen to this. And so last week I had my yearly appointment, doctor's appointment, and I've been having those for, I don't even know, since forever, right? And I have never gotten a call back, or they send you, little cards in the mail that says everything was fine. All of your tests and things came back great. And this time it was different. The day after, my cell phone was ringing, and I looked down and it was my doctor's office. And I immediately, my heart sank, because I had never gotten that call. I had never seen that phone number come up, the day after, my appointment. Obviously I had for like scheduling and those kinds of things, but not the day after an appointment. So, they wanted to do some further testing. They had seen something that, that they hadn't seen before, and just doesn't, it was just, they wanted to get some further testing. So, we made the appointment for, 2 days later. So, which was like, I got the call on on a Tuesday, and then the follow-up appointment was on Thursday. Can I just tell you, those were the longest, it was like the longest day and a half of my life. It hit me. It hit me hard. I only told a few people. I told, obviously Matt, and I told my mom, and, and, sat with it for a day and a half and thinking, why can't we make this for the next hour or the next day? Like, don't let me have to wait. I did actually make the appointment at, she said, there are two different choices. You can go to this place or this place? And I said, I don't care. I don't care whichever one you can get me in sooner. And she said, yeah, let's definitely go to this one, because the other one was kind of filling up. And so, I am somebody that it's just my nature to like worry and, little bit of anxiety and just a little bit of, those things that I can't control. And I've learned over my life, in the beginning, you don't know what it is or why you're doing the things that you do, or, why you are the person that you are. But I have found out that I do have a problem with things I can't control, or when things are out of my control, I can spiral very quickly. And it's things that I don't even, it's so weird, because it's things that I wouldn't, what do I want to say? Like, it's not like you wouldn't automatically think, oh, the reason you're having a ton of anxiety is because right now you are totally out of control, right? So like, one good example for me is flying. I do not like to fly. I have done it. It is a process and torture for me to do it. Leading up to it, I've almost, backed out of great opportunities because of it, just because I did not want to get on the airplane. And, I just thought it's the fear of flying, and it's like, but it is that fear of control. Now, I don't ever want to fly a plane. I don't want to be the pilot. I do want the pilot to be doing the, flying the airplane and taking over control, but it's like my lack of control. Because in a controlled environment, I'm great. Like, I am somebody who likes to, I'm pretty boring in the sense that I have a routine. I like things done a certain way. When, my day is scheduled or whatever, then it just goes better, right? I just flow better. I'm more creative that way. I'm more productive that way. And so, in that controlled environment, when I know I'm going to get up and I know I'm going to, do A, B, C, and D, and this is the order it'll go. It's just, I am Type A, like it's good that way. And then when something, is, totally out of my control, or it's like when I get sick and I'm down and out, it's like, I really struggle with it. I know nobody wants to be sick. Like I get that, but it's out of my control. It's like nothing I can do. And my mom always tells me that's because you never slow down. So why don't, now you're sick. Now what are you going to do? But anyway, so I got this, phone call and, tried not to spiral. We didn't know anything yet. And, Matt is obviously he is, I've always said he's my yin to my yang or whatever, however that goes, but we are totally two different people, right? And I feel like that's why it works so well. I remember when I first we were dating and I was just like, I was drawn to his laid back personality. Like he was just go with the flow, like seemed to like not really have any cares. I loved that about him. And I know that was one of the things that really drew me to Matt because I'm the total opposite, right? Like I am high strung most of the time but not like I'm bouncing off the walls, right? Like I'm most days I'm sitting at my computer doing work, but I'm not as laid back and I'm not, Gabrielle, I feel like is a lot like him in certain things, which I love. I love that about her and I want more of that. And I really try hard to just go with the flow. Like this is the way the wind is blowing today. So we're just going to go with it. Where Matt would be like, okay, we're going with it. And I'd be like, wait a minute. Like, let's just direct this back a little bit. Now, come on. Like it's not supposed to go this way. Aren't we supposed to do it this way? Like that's what I mean. Kind of like high strung. And so like I want things done and I want them done yesterday and not in 3 days from now where Matt would be like, we'll get it done, So that's what I mean by high strung. It's like when we're flipping houses, I'm like the to-do list, like every day that we're at the flip house or like when we're leaving the flip house or we get home, I like to make a list for the next day. So we're kind of on task. And Matt will be like, Lindsay, look at your list. There's no way. And I'm like, oh, it's just a few nails here. Screw this in, paint this wall, remove this wallpaper. Like we can get this all done. And he's like, Lindsay, there's no way. Right. And so, he's like, it'll take us 3 days where I'm like, no. 1 day. We've got this time, I want to get this house done in three months. And, it's going to cost us X amount of dollars if we keep it past the 3 months. And so that's kind of what I mean. And so this whole like out of control and I'm kind of going way right on this, but I'm just talking today. It's just that's my downfall. That's why I am not a patient person. It's all about control. And so I got this phone call and, they're not very, and I shouldn't say I should just say this one wasn't very, I've never got this phone call. And so I feel like the people that are giving these phone calls, they should at least look back and say, okay, is this something she's heard before? Is this the first time? You know what I mean? Like look back in my charts or whatever. And if it's my first time, say, hey, just be a little bit more, instead of just direct and to the point, we kind of saw something that we need to look at a little bit more. I mean, and that was pretty much it. And, where do you prefer to go? And I was like, wait, what? And so I'm just answering her questions, like, and then I got off the phone and I'm like, and it was actually after my appointment, recheck or whatever it is, where I had to go to a different like doctor in a different place to like get it looked at more. I was like, they got to do this differently. Maybe it's just them. And I know that every doctor and every, nurse and all the people are different in every place, but this wasn't great. Like, just let somebody know, like, this has happened before, or, we've, this test can read differently. So we just have to get a second look. Like, maybe don't make it so, cut and dry and like, yeah, I don't know. It was just, I was just like, okay, I didn't get a feel for anything except for we need to get you in ASAP, because she was pretty much like, the sooner we can get in is here. So go to this one. And so anyway, but it was, the reason why I wanted to get on to talk about this is because for that day and a half, I say that because I kind of got the call. I want to say it was around lunchtime. And then my appointment the 2 days later was it was in the afternoon. And for that like day and a half, number one, I'm trying to keep it together. Number two, I'm trying to go about business and life as normal, but I knew that I was jumbled. Some of my team members, they were asking things, and I just the way I was responding and some of the things I had done, I knew I wasn't present, if that makes sense. I was going through the motions, right? Just to get these days over with so I could get to this next appointment. But then like when I was in the shower or like, like going to bed or doing my routine at night or whatever, I would find myself saying, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Like, you put yourself in, okay, it could be, 10 different things, right? Like this can go 10 different ways. And then I started, me, myself, just within myself, I just started thinking about things. And so many things when you are put in that do not matter. Like I just, and when I say I'm high strung and I'm like, I want my house to be clean and I want it to be organized and I want it to be like, and it is not real. It's not for anybody else. It's me. Like I do enjoy cleaning. I do like things to be organized and but like when everything comes down to it, those things don't matter. Right. And so it was just, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but I got to that appointment. I should kind of tell you about. So I got to this appointment not knowing, anything at all. Matt went with me and my mom showed up. I'm like, Mom, do not come. I will definitely let you know right afterwards. But she showed up at the appointment. And so her and Matt stayed in the waiting room. And then I went back, with the lady. And, she was kind of looking at it. And again, she's like, oh, she hadn't had time to look at my stuff that had come through. They had just gotten back from a lunch break. So she's like, you get changed, do all this stuff and then come back to this room and I'm going to go look at your stuff before you come in. And so I must have changed quicker than she had time to look at it because she's like, okay, get here and, and then she's like, I'm going to look at your stuff. And she's like, oh, it's from your, one part of your appointment or whatever. And I'm like, the way she said it, I'm like, okay, so does that make it worse? Like what, like, listen. I think when you are in these positions and you're doing these kinds of tests, you have to know like how to talk. I don't know. I was just like, yeah, like the way she had said it, I immediately thought, okay, that's worse. That's worse. If they found it during that, then that's worse. And, and so then as she was, doing the exam and like checking things out, she was like, she started to explain some things and she's like, I think this is all normal. And then she was like, the one test that came back where they kind of found something, she's like, it can take, pictures like this and it can, flip flop things. And I was like, oh my gosh, if the one lady that gave me the phone call would have said, sometimes, these come back like this, or they can do it like this, so we just got to get a second opinion and make sure that's what it is. And, but that would have made me feel so much better for the day and a half that I was waiting. But, and then she's like, this is what I think it was, in this follow-up. And then she's like, let me go get the doctor, like that has to look at it. And he walked in and he's like, okay, we are thinking that, this is just normal. And so, she was kind of doing the exam with him in there too. And they were kind of talking about it. And he's like, you have nothing to worry about. So, okay, I'm not supposed to get choked up when I'm talking about this, but I instantly just started crying. And so it's so funny. He's like, I said, it was like I could finally breathe again. This is so weird. Why am I? Okay, it's been a few days. Okay, that was good. That alarm just made me snap out of it. I had to remember something else. So I instantly felt like I could breathe. Like I had not taken a really good deep breath in that day and a half, right? Anybody that gets that call or that it feels that way. And so I said, oh my gosh, I have finally breathed again. And I don't think they took it as serious as I had for that day and a half, right? Like they were probably thinking this is normal. We're just going to check it out. And so I said, thank you for, I don't remember what I said. And he's like, oh my gosh, I feel so horrible. You've been, struggling with this. And I'm like, yeah, don't you do this daily? Like, don't you have people coming in? Isn't this the normal reaction? I didn't care. I couldn't stop the tears from falling. And so I was so grateful. And I kept telling them, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And So then I walked out to the waiting room, and my mom and Matt were sitting there, and I am just full of tears. And Matt's like, I could see it in his face. He's like, she didn't come out with me. She kind of, left me in the hallway, and she was like, oh my gosh, now, tell them to take you out for a drink or for a late lunch. You need extra, and so when I went out and I was crying, and Matt was like, oh, he said, I thought you had really bad news. And so anyway, it was all good, but it was just that relief and that like, oh my gosh, like for a day and a half, it was what was so weird was that it was just a day and a half of really reflecting that, that maybe I needed, to be completely honest. I don't ever want to be scared like that again, but maybe it was something that I needed. And, it did really put things into perspective. I mean, I went from, I was all over the place with, okay, we're getting rid of this in the house, certain things I want to eat and, all those kinds of things. But it just really made me, out of most everything, just like, these things do not matter. Like the things that I stress about, the things that I worry about, if you just really think about it, here's one thing. And, my grandpa, I think, told this to my dad, and my dad told this to me years ago. My parents both know that I'm like that, like high strung, worry about things. And, it could be the smallest thing. And I'd go to my parents and I'd say, oh my gosh, this happened or whatever. One time I actually pulled out of the drive. This is a long story. Maybe someday I'll get into this. But I actually pulled out of our garage in our minivan with my door open because the kids were arguing and I forgot my door was open. And so it like crunched the door. Didn't like smash it. Like I could still shut it, but yet it needed to go get fixed. So I dropped the kids off at school and I went to my parents. They were kind of on the way when the kids were in. Was that middle school? I can't remember. Anyway, and I was like so stressed out about it. And my dad's like, it was an accident. You didn't mean to do this. He's like, in a year from now, in 6 months from now, is this even going to matter? And that's something I have to remember all the time. And I tell my kids that too. In a month from now, is this test going to matter? In a year, next year, when at school, is this even going to matter? Really put things into perspective. What really matters? And so the laundry will get done. The dishes will wait. You know what I mean? The house will still be dusty. You'll dust it today. Tomorrow there will be dust. Like, just put things into perspective. It's just a good reminder. And it took a scary, doctor's appointment or result, or it needed further testing to really make me realize that. And I'm going to take that with me now for forever, hopefully. But when I'm stressed out about certain things, or like certain things are really bogging me down and I'm not sleeping, or those things usually do not matter. Like, you know what I mean? It's just make sure, like, when you are struggling with something, and I know this isn't going to fall into everything, but what really matters? And ask yourself this a year from now, 6 months from now, next week. And my dad has even said, in 24 hours, this won't be the biggest news, like, in your life, right? Like, this isn't going to be important tomorrow, or, and there are some things like that. They're so small. Like, I stop right now. Like, don't give it any more of your energy, any more of your stress. Worrying and stressing about things is such a waste of time. It is such a waste of time. And I've wasted time. I've wasted time with both of those, and I don't want to do it anymore. It's not healthy. It's not, and it usually does not matter. So I have never gotten that phone call before. It rocked me for that day and a half, but I think it's rocked me even further than that. And so I don't want you to have a huge scare like that, and waste a day and a half of worry. But it was just so funny to me how I would just be doing random things. Again, I know, like, I was cognizant of going through the motions. Like, I wasn't really present. I wasn't really doing work. I wasn't really answering emails, like, fully, you know what I'm saying? But then I was like, this doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And I was really thinking about things that stressed me out about my work and my job. And I'm like, it was so crazy how when this happened, I was like, get rid of that. Get rid of this. You don't need this. You can stop doing this. don't pay for that. Like this is where you need to direct your energy here. This is, you want the result here. And it was about like so much of that. I was just like, it was like an instant. It's funny when you're put in that position and it's like, you can make decisions like this, like, nope, that doesn't matter. Get rid of it here. Don't pay for this here. Don't waste your time here. Don't, stop making excuses for that there. Start doing this now. It was just like this. It was just like I could come up with it and I knew exactly yes, no, take it out, keep this. Like I could totally do that. Whereas when we go about our days, on a regular basis, you're like, I don't know. Maybe I could, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't get rid of that. Maybe I should start doing that. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just crazy. And that was like the best thing that came out of this. I want that clarity every day. I want the clarity of that doesn't matter every single day. And when I come to have to make a decision or I'm like hee-hawing around about something, it's like, nope, get rid of that. Yes, keep that. Start doing that. I want that. I want that more in my life, and I'm hoping to take that with me after this this whole fiasco this week. But okay, I'm gonna stop rambling. I could probably go on forever, but this was just something that came up, obviously out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it at all, but it kind of gave me a little bit of something that I thought I would share here on the podcast because. Every time I listen to a podcast, if it's one sentence, one word, a phrase, a whole podcast, no matter what it is, if I come away with something, I just always feel like it was just, I don't know, I was meant to listen to it. Or same with a book. I'm always like, okay, I read that whole book for that one sentence. That was it. That's the only reason I needed to read it. But it was that's why. So I hope it helps somebody else today. And I should end this by saying, keep going to your appointments. You need to go to your appointment. Don't put that off. It's definitely important. And make the appointment. If you have put it off for a couple of years, make the appointment. This is your message to make that appointment. And yeah, so, okay, I'm going to end here. I hope you guys have a great day and I will talk to you guys very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.